How you doing, Sean Hodrabino, Devil's Digest? Might as well get this question out of the way. How do you handle the reps in practice today between Emory and Trenton in terms of who's going to be the starter on Saturday?
You know, we're going to handle it exactly the same way that we prepared all the rest of the games. Emory's fully cleared and he's back. So within our racks, when I talk racks, within our periods, we give the first guy primarily most of the reps, and the next guy 4 or 5 reps. So it's pretty equal. But we're going to go about it. My philosophy was we're never going to penalize a injured player. So it's Emory's job back, and we'll see how it all plays out.
Shaun, the bye week in terms of self-scouting, what kind of opportunities did that allow, and what things did you kind of take from being able to absorb exactly where you're at right now?
We used it to better ourselves. We didn't. Our coaches went and had a couple more days to game plan for Stanford, and then waiting for the Notre Dame game. But we used it as a self-scout, like you said, for ourselves to get better at our deficiencies that we thought within the 2 practices. Go back and look at ourselves on mistakes that we've had, things that we need to work on, things that we forgot about in spring ball that we need to make sure it resurfaces again from a schematic standpoint. But overall, it was a good chance for us to look back and see what we're good at and how we're going to go and play the next half of the season.
We've seen the increased sort of aggression that you've talked about with the offense in particular. Your thoughts about kind of what you guys are doing defensively at this point, and if any sort of changes are warranted in that regard?
I went back and looked at both sides. Like you said, on the offensive side, aggressively, I want to make sure we keep that going, the tempo of that, be more aggressive if we can. On the defensive side, same thing. We need to make sure that we get in people's faces and challenge them and compete and be aggressive. The coordinators are hearing it from me every single day, that the style of play that I want to play. And so, but also making sure that they're comfortable with the play calls and of that sort. But they're hearing it from me. I want to be aggressive and take the game to our opponent, not sit back and play that bend, don't break. That's not my forte. My forte is make sure that we go and attack people. So whatever that means, that's how I would like to see it play out.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Coach, can you update us on some of the other injuries, players that have missed time or went out of the last game, and do you expect them, like I guess Ladarius for one?
Yes.
Holmes.
Ladarius is going in for his final eval today on what he's going to do with his finger, and so we'll probably know this afternoon if he's going to go or not. But it looks like he probably won't. Everybody else we have back, and so that are probable. But we have back and have been practicing, so we're as in good of shape that we've been in the past couple weeks.
And then, Coach, Michael Caracino, Sideline Sports, but you were saying with the defense, that kind of piggyback off that, from the start of the season until now, how do you feel that they've grown as a group, and even kind of a little bit further, like what Kyle Soley, I know leading obviously the Pac-12 in tackles, but like how they've grown as a group and what Kyle's meant to that group?
I think they're playing with each other a lot more. We talked about them trusting each other and doing their job. That's my mainstay in regards to my motivational speaks, is to make sure you do your job and trust each other, run to the football, all of those things that I think that we've increased a lot. I think that's why they're playing a lot better. They also had to figure out their teammates, and now they're playing better with more aggression, with fun, and so hopefully the aggressiveness that I'm trying to get from them will play out their style as well, and have fun doing it. But they've gotten better and better every week.
Jordan, then Michelle. Coach Jordan Ham, Sports 360
Hey,
AZ. When you're, we've seen all the recruiting efforts the past few weeks and getting everybody on campus and that sort of thing. As a coach with an interim tag, what sort of challenges have you seen when recruiting some of these players, trying to build up this class and future classes?
And that's a good question. You're always going to fight the question, Coach, wonder if you're not there, what's going to happen? We want to come here, but we don't know what's going to happen. And those are the questions, the legitimate questions that they're going to face. I told them that we're recruiting as if I'm here, and how that plays out, it might be a thing where they wait until that decision is made and then make their decision. We're happy with what we're have gotten in response to guys that are very interested in coming here. It'll probably be a wait and see a little bit on their part, and I'm comfortable with that, especially with the parents and those talks I've been having with the parents. You'll be very surprised if when it does play out.
The other thing I've been seeing on Twitter too, it seems like you've been reaching out to former players too. What is your message to them, Ben? And it seems like in the past maybe there's been a disconnect between the alumni, past players, and the coaching staff. So how are you trying to engage them, and what's to be gained there?
I spend a few hours every day trying to reach out to the alumni, and there's a broad base of alumni. To me, in building a successful football team, you need everybody. You need administration on your side and backing you. You need the community. You need everybody to make it all work. For me, knowing the alumni and how important it is for them being a Sun Devil, that just plays a part in it. I want to make sure that they are invited to all of our football games, any practice that they come, any events, so they're a part of that Sun Devil for life mentality. And so me just reaching out to them is just letting them know that they're welcome back in their own home, and they're welcome at any time. And so it's not a ploy for anything. It's just they need to make sure that they're comfortable and happy with what we're doing with their program, and it is their program too. And so I'm just reaching out and letting them know that I understand where it has been in the past, and I want to make sure that they feel comfortable with our program now.
Yeah, Shaun, just following up on the quarterback situation a little bit. Are you of the mindset that you would be comfortable playing two quarterbacks, splitting series, or some incorporation of Trenton, even with Emory starting against Stanford?
I've never been a fan of splitting quarterbacks just because the rhythm that somebody goes in. Now, if somebody's not getting the job done, I'm here to win football games too. And so if somebody's not getting the job done, I can make those decisions really quick. But I don't feel that splitting reps or splitting series. The continuity of the game doesn't bode well in my experience. But whoever's going to give me the best chance to win the football game and our team to win the football game, that's who I'm going to go with.
Shaun, just
Hey,
looking
Tim.
back, how do you put Trenton's performance in perspective in terms of what you've seen in the past of a guy coming in a situation like that, off the bench, has hardly played all year, and did what he did against Washington?
That's an incredible. He did an incredible job. I wasn't surprised, and our team wasn't surprised, and I think that's why they rallied around it, because he goes about practice as the starter every single day, and he goes about his preparation as a starter every single day. He's here at watching film at 6:30 every morning as if he was a starter. So he prepares that way. I don't know if anybody knows, he wants to be a collegiate coach. And so he goes about studying film and does that. So nobody was surprised of what he did. And that's why, you didn't see anybody heads down when he was warming up. They're going to all rally behind him because they understand exactly what he does in preparation. But for him to just come in with limited reps in practice and did what he did is extraordinary.
So, Shaun, with as much pride as you take with in-state recruiting, when you see a guy like Trenton succeed, I mean, really the first quarterback, in-state quarterback to lead ASU to victory since 2002, does that really maybe add, to your excitement when you see somebody in not so much ASU's backyard, a little south down the I-10, but nonetheless do as well as he does?
Absolutely, and there's been a ton of quarterbacks in Arizona that have been extremely successful outside of Arizona State, and I've had a lot of them too. But the quarterback play, we need to have elite quarterback play at Arizona State. I've always built the philosophy, you build your team around elite quarterbacks. And so there is elite quarterbacks in Arizona. And so will it go back to recruiting those guys? I want to recruit the best, the most elite quarterback. And if it's an Arizona guy, absolutely. And so for him to do what he did speaks volumes for what Arizona football is about.
Shaun, can you give us your sense of just what Stanford is like in terms of their schemes and personnel?
You know, they play good fundamental football. You know, they're always really pretty good in the interiors. You know, their front seven is pretty good. Their offensive line is pretty good. They will try to control the clock on you and keep the score at minimum and then see what happens at the end of the game. But Coach Shaw does a great job and has done a great job with the type of athletes that he's had. But we want to make sure that, again, we are not playing that game of who's going to attack first. We want to make sure we take the game to them. And so they're a talented group. You know, they beat Notre Dame this past weekend. I watched the whole game from my hotel room, and it's gonna be a good game when it comes to it.
What do you think enabled that improvement against Notre Dame that they had?
You know, I think they're getting back to running the football, and they have big receivers out there. They've always had, and you know they're going to play that matchup. But I thought from a defensive standpoint, they played really well as a team. Ran to the football really well. Were in your face on third downs that I thought they weren't prior. But they played a good team football and kind of took it to Notre Dame.
Tanner McKee had a lot of success against you guys last year. So what are the challenges he presents? And then also their tight ends had a pretty good game against you guys last year. And how about defending that?
You know, we're going to have to put pressure on Tanner. When he sits back in the pocket and has some time, he'll pick you apart. And so we're going to make sure that he's moving in the pocket and make him uncomfortable. The tight ends, we're going to have to make sure that people are on them. They are always used to 12, 13 personnel. They've always been very fortunate to have great tight ends, and they use them effectively, especially on third downs. So we need to make sure that we understand who they're going to go to on their third downs. But again, we need to make sure that we put as much pressure on Tanner as possible.